about all the other champions in that division? You got Scott Quigg, Carl Frampton, Guillermo Rigondeaux.
I'm gonna get the opportunity, boy. You working your ass off, don't you?
Hey, that's what we do. That's what we do.
DONTAE'S Boxing Nation. I see it, baby. Y'all the man.
That's what it is.
I love what you're doing for boxing.
Thank you, man.
Don't stop. Keep on going strong. Keep on going hard. A lot of big fights coming this year. A lot of big fights.
DONTAE'S Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Congratulations to Carl Frampton for winning his second title in 2 weight classes, making history as an Irish boxer. I'm going to tell you guys something right now. When it comes to Al Haymon in the PBC series, we got Thurman versus Porter last month, which was a barn burner, toe-to-toe type of action. It gave you the feel of Sugar Ray Leonard versus Hearns. It was that type of fight. Then just yesterday, or I shouldn't say yesterday now, but then just on Friday, we had Adonis Stevenson making his return against power puncher top dog Thomas Williams. They went toe to toe. And Adonis Stevens, he showed a different side of him. He showed that he could fight on the inside. He took some of Williams' best punches and he rallied back and he walked down the aggressor and then knocked him out in a vicious way. This Saturday, we get the return of Mikey Garcia in a great fight. And in the main event, we get another Thurman Porter type of fight with Carl Frampton and Leo Santa Cruz. All courtesy of Al Haymon. Now, on top of Al Haymon's cards that he flooded the month of July with, we also got Crawford versus Postal by Bob Arum. Another big fight of the year, not just for July, but Crawford versus Postal next to Ward versus Kovalev. That was the most significant fight this year. You have Crawford Postal, you have Ward Kovalev, and you have Thurman versus Porter. Those are the most significant, most relevant fights of the year to date. Now, the only problem with the Crawford Postal fight is it was on pay-per-view, and that fight should have never been on pay-per-view. When I first heard it was on pay-per-view, I was like, this is not a pay-per-view fight. But that wasn't Bob Arum's fault. That was HBO's fault, because HBO is losing money and they're doing a lot of budget cuts, so they couldn't afford to put Crawford versus Postal on regular HBO. And Bob Arum, he had to come out of his own pockets to pay for that fight to be on HBO pay-per-view. Okay, so getting back to Frampton versus Leo Santa Cruz, as you guys can see in the clip I played, I picked Carl Frampton to win this fight. I simply picked Carl Frampton because 90% of the time, the boxer beats the puncher. Brains usually beats brawn 90% of the time, especially in this situation. But you know, this situation was a little bit more complex than just looking at the styles, simply because I thought Leo Santa Cruz, he made some improvements, or he showed a different side of his game when he fought against Abner Mares. I was impressed with Leo Santa Cruz. He used his reach very well against Abner Mares. He kept Abner Mares at bay with jabs. He was catching Mares with check hooks as Mares was coming in. But when you put him up against someone like Frampton, Abner Mares is not a slickster. Abner Mares he's a decent boxer. You know, he's one of them sporadic type of fighters. You know, 1 minute he's moving around the ring trying to box, the next minute he's going in toe to toe. But he really doesn't, or he really hasn't mastered any type of style. That's pretty much how I see Abner Mares. Carl Frampton is a little bit different, or a lot different. because Carl Frampton, you can almost say, and I'm not comparing him to this guy, but just go with me with this comparison. Carl Frampton, at least Leo Santa Cruz, made Frampton look like the Irish Roy Jones Jr. or Pernell Whitaker, whatever American slick style fighter you want to use for that comparison. Leo Santa Cruz, he made Carl Frampton look that good. And I won't just blame it on Leo Santa Cruz. You know, you have to attribute most of that to Carl Frampton's skills. Carl Frampton, off the bat, I can see, it looked to me like after about the first round, Carl Frampton, I sensed that he basically said to himself, wait a minute, this guy is way too slow. And then all of a sudden you seen Carl Frampton, he just went right in the inside, right? He stuck his head right in the meat grinder. He said, man, I can stay close to this guy and go toe to toe and just slip all of his slow telegraph punches, and I can still outwork and outpoint this guy and possibly even hurt him. This is what Carl Frampton was saying to himself during this fight, and Carl Frampton was right, because Carl Frampton, he made Leo Santa Cruz look as slow as molasses in this fight. Carl Frampton, he looked extremely slick. This was the best we've ever probably seen when it comes to Carl Frampton. Don't get me wrong, Carl Frampton has looked good in a lot of his fights. But of course, you know, stepping up in competition and looking that good, it always makes it look even better. Frampton was able to beat Leo Santa Cruz on the inside and on the outside. Now, later on in the fight, Carl Frampton, he allowed some of those rounds to be closer than they had to be. Matter of fact, he even gave away some of those rounds in the second half of the fight when he was fighting toe-to-toe. But for the most part, at least in the first half, Carl Frampton, he was out hustling Leo Santa Cruz on the outside and the inside. Carl Frampton was pretty much able to do whatever he wanted to do in this fight. Sometimes he would lead with the right hand and it would land. A lot of times he would basically set Leo Santa Cruz up by taking a quick step back, which would bait Leo Santa Cruz to leap in and reach. And as soon as Frampton forces Leo to reach, Leo was there, or Frampton was there to catch him with perfect counter shots, perfect check hooks. He would finish combinations off with jabs. I mean, Leo Santa Cruz was running into everything. He was running into jabs. He was running into check hooks. He was running into lead right hands, uppercuts. That was a real nice jab. He threw a jab right uppercut around the, I don't remember if it was around the third or the second round. And then he even hurt and staggered Leo Santa Cruz in the second or the third round. He caught him with another one of those quick-ass left hooks on the temple of Leo Santa Cruz. Knocked off his equilibrium. Now, that could have been ruled a knockdown because the ropes actually held up Santa Cruz. So at the end of the day, this was a very impressive performance by Santa Cruz. It was a dog fight. We seen a little bit of everything. We seen boxing. We seen toe-to-toe. We seen an electric atmosphere at the Brooklyn Barclays Center. And I'm going to tell you about that Barclays Center, man. That is starting to be a hotbed when it comes to boxing events. Al Heyman, he pretty much put the Barclays Center on the map. And something else that I really like, and this is what gives, this is also something that gives PBC that NFL, NBA type feel. I always tell you guys that, you know, we have these free fights. We have these guys fighting so frequent because Al Heyman, he has damn near 200 fighters signed under his stable, and a lot of them are undefeated killers, right? But what makes it so much of an NBA feel is the fact that you can have a big fight like Broner fighting against Sean Porter, and if Broner loses, it's okay. He comes right back. He's fighting against Alan Verdiev 3 months later, and he's right back in the mix. This is how the leagues like the NFL and the NBA, this is how they work. You know, they may lose this week and win a big fight, or win a big game, I should say, the very next week. Another reason why PBC and Al Heyman, they give this type of NBA feel is because not only is he bringing boxing back to New York in a big way, but he's bringing Mexican fighters back to New York. So we're used to seeing Mexican fighters always fight in the home court. Now we get to see for the first time Mexican fighters come in as the visiting team. It is an added element to the sport, and it provides a different type of crowd. You have a more divided crowd rooting for their team, as opposed to fighters fighting in LA and Texas and Arizona, where the crowd is completely one-sided. The crowd is a lot more diverse now when you bring fights over to New York. Not to suggest that all fights should be there, because we just seen in Leo Santa Cruz's last fight, or I think it was his last fight, one of his last fights, he fought once again in his home court, which was the Staples Center in LA, when he fought against Abner Mares. So once again, you're seeing fighters fight in their home court, and you're seeing these fighters fight on the road. So I think this is good for boxing. Once again, man, Al Haymon is doing a terrific job. The PBC series is really strong, and we are just getting so much boxing as boxing fans. It's really great. The boxing fans are happy. The boxers are happy. No one is complaining about Al Haymon. Leo Santa Cruz, he's so happy with Al Haymon, he actually named his son after Al Haymon. Okay? How many boxers do you know have named their kids after Oscar De La Hoya or Bob Arum? So, with that being said, this was a terrific card, and the 126-pound division is heating up right now. The hottest divisions in boxing right now are what? The featherweight division, the heavyweight division, of course the welterweight division. The junior middleweight division is booming right now. There's a couple of them. And the light heavyweight division is heating up, with Adonis Stevenson making his return, knocking out, Williams. Things are heating up, guys. Things are really heating up. And a lot of these divisions, a lot of the big fights in these divisions, the fights are going to be on PBC. So us boxing fans, we are in real good hands right now. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm going to go ahead and work on my Mikey Garcia video and some other videos. I have a lot of stuff I need to upload. The reason why I'm uploading this video so late is because I actually just watched the fight like 6 o'clock this morning, and then I went to sleep. Because instead of watching the fight live last night, I attended the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, which was an event that was about 3 hours long. So that's pretty much all I got for now, guys. I'll catch up with you later. I'm on to the next one.
Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Woo!